Yeah, people are saying that the loser of Michigan and Ohio State are still getting in. No, they're not. No, they're not. That is not true. Not this year. It happened last year. That ain't going to happen this year unless there's chaos. Unless there's chaos. And now if there's chaos and a whole bunch of people start losing, which I'm rooting for, by the way, then we'll see what happens. Georgia loses. That's what I'm hoping. I want Georgia to lose. I want Michigan or Ohio State to lose. Then I want them, whoever wins, I want them to lose in the Big Ten championship. I want Florida State to lose, Washington to lose. I want everybody to lose, and then let's see what happens. But I don't think Georgia's going to lose. So, and Ohio State's not winning the Natty. They don't have enough offense. That quarterback, I don't trust them. And they're not physical enough.
Welcome to Big B Daily. No frauds allowed.
What's going on, people? Thank you guys for coming back. I appreciate it. Big B Daily Show, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Central Time. We are live on TikTok and we are live on YouTube. What is going on, people? What is going on? Man, craziness in the world of the NFL last night and this morning. Just wild predicaments. Let's call it that. Just craziness. Some good, some bad. But it is what it is. Let's get into it, people. Let's get into it. Again, man, if you are on TikTok, I appreciate everybody over there, man. So if you are in the room and you're not following, please give me a follow, man. I would appreciate it. And also, go ahead and go in the link in my bio, the YouTube tab. Click on that. Come and join YouTube. Subscribe to Big B Sports Talk over on YouTube. The chat is better on YouTube. You get access to podcasts, interviews, Hot Soup Fantasy Football, and all of his takes and everything that he does is over there on YouTube, as well as LTB Sports. A lot of more interactive sports network over there. Just come on over. So, and if you're on YouTube and you're not following, give me a follow. So let's do this, people. Let's do this. Look, I got to talk about it. First of all, Gwendo, the knee's getting better. It's getting better. It's not great, but it's getting better. Let's talk about it. Matt Canada. Fired. Gone from Pittsburgh. Now, look, I'm not happy that the guy lost his job. Nobody wants to see anybody lose his job, but it's a results-based business. And it damn sure hadn't been no results over the last 3 years. I'm sorry. The offense was pedestrian at best, no imagination. They didn't do any motion, no pre-snap motion, no pre-snap shifting. There was no plan, just calling plays. The quarterback that you drafted has regressed. He looks like a shell of himself. Terrible. It was time for him to go. It was time for him to go. I'm sorry. It was just time for him to go. Let's see what some people have to say about it early over here on YouTube, man. Let's see about it. My man Gwendo said the change in Pittsburgh came way too late. Maybe because he probably should have never had the job to even go into the year. He should have never been hired back, should have been fired at the end of last year. So you're right. So we'll see what happens, man. We will see what my man Austin, Canada kept falling upwards. What's next in that path? Patriots head coach next year. You're right. He did seem to keep failing and keep getting promoted. It's wild. It's wild. Now, I had somebody over on TikTok arguing with me earlier, talking about did Matt Canada get fired by Tomlin or was it the owner? And I'm like, does it matter? He's not the offensive coordinator anymore. First of all, if Mike Tomlin fired him, he had to get the approval of the owner anyway. That happened. Just because Art Rooney stays in the shadows doesn't mean he's not hands-on, because he's hands-on. He just is in the shadows, not on the news. So it doesn't matter whether Tomlin fired him or not. He had to get the approval of the owner to do it. So he did it. And let's move on, because that's what the Steelers wanted. So we can't be crying and belly aching about how it happened and, oh, woe is me. I'm like, look, the guy got fired. That's what everybody's been screaming about. Fire Matt Canada. Well, he got fired. Now, guess what? It's up to you now, baby hands Pickett. It is up to you now, baby hands Pickett. And this is a good question, Dirty Sanchez. Do you think Pickett's ceiling is now higher or lower with Canada? It depends on how they run the offense. You're right. I think it's going to be more run-based, even more than what it is. They better get some imagination. But the one thing I know now is that his ceiling's got to be higher, because they got to start using the middle of the field and they got to start throwing the ball down the field. If they don't do that, and if Kenny Pickett is the reason for that, then, this is all for naught. It's all for naught. Gwendo makes a good point. Mike T was starting to lose the locker room because of the offense. Yeah, he was. Najee Harris put it out there. I mean, Pickens complained. Deontay Johnson complained. But Najee Harris put it straightforward. Pardon my French, TikTok. This shit can't continue. It's not sustainable. Can't win football games that way. That's right. So, that's right. And if you all go to thenoise.com, there's an article in there about Brien Hanley, which would be me. Tomorrow, first thing, you'll see an article talking about this, talking about Matt Canada and what has to happen. I mean, we blame it all on him. Now what? That's the question. Now what? So, we'll see. We'll see. I hope, and I mentioned this, Golf Hawk, Mitchell Trubisky starting by week 15. I mentioned if Trubisky doesn't change, the Steelers got an opportunity to win right now. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but they can make the playoffs. They got an opportunity. And if Pickett can't get it done, then get his butt out of there. Period, point blank. Get him out and get somebody else in. It's that time. There's no reason for the offense to be this bad. With the weapons that the Steelers have, the offensive line has been porous. It has. But they've come around. They've come around. A little bit more imagination on the offensive side will help the offensive line. So, and that's a great point, Austin. Forget the locker room. They were starting to lose the city and the fan base. The fans were fed up. And here's the thing. The fans don't care who the offensive coordinator is. They don't care. We don't care. Just score points. Have a productive offense that looks like an offense. That's all you got to do. We don't care who it is. It could be the Grinch for all we care. Just score some damn points. So, but that's just me. That's just me. Trade for Cooper Rush. Freeze, man, you are on something. Trade for Cooper Rush. The Cowboys don't need anyone since they have Trey. First of all, the trade deadline passed a month ago. And no, they're not trading for Cooper Rush. Stop it. Stop putting that stuff out in public, man. They lock people up in padded rooms for saying stuff like you just said. So you got to stop. You got to stop. Let's move on, people. Let's move on. So did y'all see the game last night? Monday Night Football. Chiefs versus Eagles. Ooh. It was first of all, I thought it was a good game. Wasn't a whole lot of offense. So if you love offense, you didn't like it. But the Chiefs, I said the Eagles would win. I was right. Chiefs didn't look great. Or take that back. The Chiefs defense looked awesome. The Chiefs offense didn't look great. Didn't look great. Man. They did not look great. No receivers. Can't catch. There you go, Gwendo. Can someone please catch the ball? I mean, their leading receiver again was Watson last night. I'm like, come on, man. I just don't know. I just don't know. I can't figure it out. I take that back. I can figure it out. They just don't have any good receivers. And it came back to bite them. The Chiefs went out and paid offensive tackles, which clearly you need offensive tackles, but they paid $9 million to Donovan Smith to be the left tackle, and he's pathetic. That's what you wanted? He had a decent game last night. I'll admit. He did. And maybe he's starting to get better, but if you don't have anybody to throw to, who cares? Maybe the Chiefs should run the ball more. They ran it well. I think they should have ran it more. Pacheco had 19 carries. He should have had 25. He should have had 25. That's the problem with Andy Reid. You fall in love with the passing game, but you can't do that when you don't have any good receivers. So it's a problem. It's a problem. You know? And here, nobody's talking about it. Thank you for bringing up Freeze Man. Let's get Freeze Man out of the padded room. He was talking crazy earlier, and we put him in the padded room, and he needed to be there. But now we're bringing him out. Called it on the head. Travis Kelce was terrible last night. Boom. Boom. Travis Kelce was horrible last night. And nobody wants to talk about it. I'll talk about it. He was terrible. Fumbling in the red zone, dropping passes. Terrible. And it was just one game. Nobody's saying Travis Kelce's still not great. He is. But truth is truth. He had a horrible game. You know? And yes, Jacob Perkins. Sky Moore. Please be done with Sky Moore, Kansas City Chiefs. He said Sky Moore is a bust and a half. Terrible. Whew. Another good point. My man Austin. Mahomes is a top 10 pressured QB this year. The O-line is not good. But he's not in sacks. I think he's last in sacks because he moves around and he doesn't get sacked very much. Even the Eagles last night, that great O-line, they still only had one sack. Well, technically, I think they had two. The end of the game that, what was it? Oh, my God. Intentional grounding I think they should count that as a sack. You got to count that as a sack. So, but they don't. So it is what it is. But either way, I mean, it's like Mahomes. What do they want him to do? I heard today on the Coach JB show, I don't know if anybody catches that. I mean, his whole stick, of course, is Patrick Mahomes isn't any good. So, it's clickbait and not to even pay attention. But he was saying Mahomes couldn't get it done. He choked. I'm like, he choked? He threw the 52-yard touchdown pass to win the game. What else do you want him to do? The guy just didn't catch it. I mean, he threw the ball right in the guy's hands. All he had to do was catch it. He didn't even have to run. Just catch it and fall down. So the Falcons are not better than the Steelers, and you know that. And you can continue to say that 100 times. It ain't going to matter. They're still not better than the Steelers. So you talk about quarterback problems. You got Ritter. And that's all I need to say. I would take baby hands Pickett over Ritter. But yeah, man, the Chiefs got to find something. They got to figure something out. Maybe they're going to be a running team. Because these receivers, man, terrible. Just terrible. But let's move on, people. Let's move on. So, you know what time it is? It's Tuesday. And it's time for Fraud of the Week. Fraud of the Week. I know y'all been waiting for it. The old Fraud of the Week. Again, we're going to do this interactive today. I have an idea of who I would like, but just like last week, you guys can change my mind. So start firing them off. Who was the Fraud of the Week? And I'll read them out. Who was the Fraud of the Week? Let's get Big Said out of here because he's an absolute idiot. So now we don't have to worry about that. The KC offense. I would say the KC receivers. Mahomes was fine. And the run game was fine. A.J. Brown. Can you blame A.J. Brown, though? I don't know that you can blame him. The Chiefs. Louisville basketball. My man, Austin Shute. How is it Louisville basketball frauds? Don't piss me off, Austin. Me and you are friends. Don't do it. Don't you do it. Washington for getting beat by Danny DeVito. Yes, Danny DeVito's kid. You're exactly right. The Washington Commanders. There you go, Rob Johnson. They got beat by Danny DeVito's kid. The Commanders. Pete Carroll. The Chargers. Woo! Man. Tennessee. Like the Volunteers? Kenny Payne taking strays in the chat. Exactly, Jacob Perkins. The Bears organization. CJ Stroud for MVP. We're talking fraud alert. Keep up. The Lakers? I don't think the Lakers are frauds. That's a LeBron hater. Travis Kelce. Ooh. That's spite. Florida State is a fraud alert? Wow. I mean, man. That's crazy talk. Me for hating on Brock Purdy? Have I said anything that's not true about Brock Purdy? Did I not say Brock Purdy was a good quarterback? Did I not say Brock Purdy was good when the 49ers had a lead? Did I not say that Brock Purdy, when he has game pressure, he folds like a cheap accordion? Tell me what's not true about any of that. If you can tell me, I'll listen. He's better than good. You're right. He's great. He's elite, right? He's elite. Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. Stop it. Stop it. Next thing you know, this guy's going to tell me that Brock Purdy, there's somebody over here, I'm sorry, YouTube, somebody over on TikTok telling me how good Brock Purdy is. We'll get back to that. We're talking fraud of the week. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've called it. I've called it. Somebody got it on TikTok. The Auburn Tigers. The Auburn Tigers. That's who I had going into this. Nobody changed my mind. There was a lot of good ones, but it's the Auburn Tigers. You paid almost $2 million for New Mexico State to come in, and they come to Auburn and beat you by 21 points. Shameful. Shameful. You ought to be just disgusted with yourself. Absolute frauds. I was thinking USC, but I think we covered USC. Nobody thinks USC is any good. And not that Auburn's good. I'm not saying Auburn's good. But you got to be better than New Mexico State. Although New Mexico State got a decent team, but they come to your house and blow the doors off of you 31-10. Come on, man. Come on, man. So Auburn is the fraud of the week. Seahawks are up there. Seahawks made me mad. Seahawks made me mad. So they were definitely up there. Definitely up there. So again, let's move on. Let's get to the open mic session. But as we do, again, people, TikTok, you guys keep tapping the screen, man. Let's go for 7,000 likes in here today. And anybody that is not following that's in TikTok, please give me a follow. Anybody on YouTube that's not subscribed to Big B Sports Talk, please subscribe. So let's get into it. Steelers aren't frauds, Golf Hawk. We're not frauds. So let's see. Joe Burrow equals injury-prone game manager. Well, the first part, I agree with. Joe Burrow is injury-prone. It's okay to start saying that now, people. You say it about Tua, you say it about Lamar Jackson, then you got to say it about Joe Burrow. Period, point blank. Joe Burrow, injury-prone. Game manager could be one of the dumbest assessments that I've ever heard anybody make about football in the last 5 years. Saying that Joe Burrow is a game manager. Again, a game manager is a guy that you have a great run game, you have a great defense, you throw the ball maybe 20 times. Game manager. That's Joe Burrow. Got to watch more football, man. Got to watch more football. Either that or you are just a Bengals hater, but that's okay. That's okay. Brock Purdy equals game manager. There we go. Finally. Brock Purdy is an outstanding game manager. Outstanding game manager. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with being a game manager. There's nothing wrong with that. People get mad about being a game manager or calling their team's quarterback a game manager. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But that's what he is. Big Me, tell me what's wrong with the Seahawks. I don't know, Jamar. Season looks cooked with their next 4 games. The Seahawks got a tough schedule coming up. They got to figure it out. But the one problem is Geno. Geno hadn't been great all year. He's had a flash here or there, but Geno's a problem. Geno's been the problem. So, fraud alert, the entire college football committee. If Washington is not in the top 4 tonight, you'll be 1,000% correct on that. 1,000% correct. And then Washington should have been in the top 4 last week. I mean, who are we kidding? They should have been last week. But they make no mistake. We talked about this earlier on TikTok, and we'll talk about it again right now. Washington has the best college football resume in the country, and it's not even close. It's not even close. The best in the country. Not close. So, Pete Carroll thought that he had Russ and Geno. I don't think he thought that, but I think that he thought he could bide his time till he had to get a new quarterback. Turns out, no. So here's a question. My man Rob Johnson said Oregon is going to beat the brakes off of Washington in the rematch. Maybe, but let's hope the game's not close, because if the game's close, then you know Oregon's coach is going to make dumb decisions just like he did the last time. Oregon should have beat Washington the last time. But they have an idiot coach, made dumb decisions, and got his team beat. So hopefully they do blow the doors off Washington, because if they don't, and it comes down to him making a decision, he's going to blow it. Let's see. The Ravens are on top of the North. Yes, they are. Pickett still ain't the man. He can't see the field. No, he can't. Kenny Pickett cannot see the field. Who said that Brock Purdy was better than Patrick Mahomes? Nobody said that. If somebody said that, let me know. I'll kick him out of the live right now. We don't have crazy talk. Nobody said that. Hopefully nobody said that. Jiminy Christmas. Brock Purdy's better than Patrick Mahomes. Steelers wish we had Lamar. Yeah, we do. Steelers wish we had the Steelers wish we had Brock Purdy. Y'all know how it's not that I don't like Brock Purdy. I think he's a game manager. Do you know how much better the Steelers would be if we had Brock Purdy? Oh my God, with the weapons that we have. Now our offensive line is suspect, but outside of Trent Williams, San Francisco's offensive line is not the greatest. So yeah, the Steelers could do a lot better with a lot of different people. I would take Brock Purdy today. So my man Austin makes a good point. Is it just me or really terrible quarterback play this year? How many teams are in the Williams-Mays sweepstake? A lot of teams. A lot of teams. And it seems like the defenses have caught up with the offenses. It seems like, because think about this. Minnesota had an awful defense last year. Then they got rid of guys. Now they brought in Brian Flores, who's a great defensive mind. Their defense is pretty good. Pretty good. I think its defenses have caught up with offenses. They've learned how to play with these crazy defensive rules, and they've caught up with these offenses. Some of the offenses get too cute. They're not physical enough. And here's the bottom line. And you all tell me if I'm wrong. TikTok, YouTube, tell me if I'm wrong. One of the biggest problems that I see with offenses these days in the National Football League, they don't run the football enough. The teams are not physical enough. Most teams don't have a fullback. When you need a yard, why can't you just hand it off behind a fullback? You want to run power. You know, whatever happened to 20 personnel? Whatever happened to that? 3 receivers, 2 backs, but a fullback. Nobody gets physical enough. I just think it's insane. I think it's insane. Not enough teams run the ball. So Dobbs is better than Pickett. Us in this chat room are better than Pickett right now, people. So am I wrong? I can be wrong. I can be wrong. I don't think not enough teams want to play physical. My man Pierre Land said everybody wants to run like Sean Payton, an offense like Sean Payton. But Sean Payton will run the football. He'll run it. So, yeah, but Gwendo, I don't think that has anything to do with it. My man Gwendo says because they don't want to pay running backs. That doesn't have anything to do with it. They'll run the ball if they can run it. They just don't want to. They don't want to run the ball. I think that's part of the problem. Not enough teams are physical at the point of attack. They don't run the football enough. And, I mean, how many times do we see teams now when it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, they line up in the shotgun? 10 years ago, nobody did that. Now, don't get me wrong, football evolves, the game evolves. But the one thing that I do know now, especially in the go for it territory, the one thing that I know for an absolute fact, and this will never change, if you're going for it on 4th down, you got to run it on 3rd down. You know how many teams just don't do that mantra? It's crazy. It's crazy. If you're going for it on 4th down, run it on 3rd down. It's nuts. Get closer. But teams don't do it. Teams just won't do it. My man Pearland thinks there will be a return to smash mouth football. I don't even think it has to be smash mouth. I don't know that I want smash mouth football because that's boring. But teams got to run the football more. They got to run the football with fullbacks, off tackle powers. Not enough of that. Not enough of that anymore. So, fullback dive is the least run play in the NFL. Yeah, because they don't have fullbacks anymore. So, run the counter. I love the counter. I love counter. Teams don't do it. Now, it's tough on how you run it because backside defensive ends are so fast these days. It's tough to run counter. But if you can bootleg off of that, you got a quarterback that's a little mobile, makes it easier. So, it makes it easier. My man Jamar Get Bread says, I want aggressive football. Who said running the football is not aggressive, though? You can run the football and be aggressive running the football. I think that's a misconception. That's a misconception. So, Bud Snodgrass over here on YouTube, I'm telling y'all, the chat over on YouTube is popping, people. So if you're on TikTok, take an opportunity to get over there. Click the link in my bio, the YouTube link in my bio. Join Big B Sports Talk and come join it, man. He says he agreed, but it's because they've been dominated by QBs like Mahomes with the pass. I agree with that to an extent, my man Snodgrass. However, wouldn't it behoove you to keep the ball away from a guy like Mahomes? The best way to do that, have a solid running game. Have a solid running game. That's the best way to keep the ball away from Mahomes. Run the football. And there it is right there, Gwendo. The O-line play and coaching needs to get better in college and in the pros and at the high school level. Hit that damn 7-man sled. Teams don't do that anymore. I'm not saying you necessarily need to do that in the pros because a lot of pro stuff, you're putting in plays and things of that nature, but you can do it. You can make individual periods and do that. But damn it, in college and in high school, hit the 7-man sled. Have these kids learn how to drive block again. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Dylan Turner believes what I believe, that the defenses have gotten really smart over the years. Yeah. I think the defenses have caught up. Thanks for the gifts over here on TikTok, by the way. I appreciate it. But that's what I believe. I think they've caught up. They've gotten smarter, and they have caught up. Go Vikings. Go Browns. Where's the Go Steelers at? People are out on my Steelers, man. People are out on my Steelers. It's sad. There's a Go Steelers. There we go. It's just interesting. It's going to be interesting, this whole Matt Canada thing, man. We're going to see. Kenny Pickett better be here. Kenny Pickett he better get better. Throw the ball down the middle of the damn field. Throw the ball down the field, period. Go through your progressions. Stop throwing check downs after one read. If that was the offense, ugh. Ugh. So, what did you hear? My man Seth said there's an interesting segment on Herd today with Colin Cowherd. Said his sources say Nathaniel Hackett is likely to be the Steelers' next OC. I don't think so. I don't think so. For what? That would be a mistake. A huge mistake. Huge mistake. And if Aaron Rodgers comes back, I think he's going to demand that Nathaniel Hackett be there with the Jets. So, my man Dakota Billings, thank you for the super chat. What's happening to my Seahawks? Just want to see consistency. Is Geno Smith not playing well? Kenneth Walker got hurt. That doesn't hurt. That doesn't help. But you're right. They got to be more consistent. They should have won that game against the Rams. You got to win that game. The Rams are not even trying. The Rams are rebuilding. And they couldn't win that game on the road. That's a winnable game on the road. Should have been won. By the way, anybody on YouTube, man, we appreciate any and all super chats. Your question gets put immediately read, jumps to the front of the line. Anything is welcome. So we appreciate the support, man. So anybody that wants to send it, we appreciate it. They caught up. Gwendo says the defense is caught up except for the Chargers. That's funny. So. And here, my man, Darren Howard, says Walter Jones, Hall of Famer Walter Jones, used to pull SUVs in the offseason. What offensive lineman can even imagine thinking about doing that today? Therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem with offensive line play. Nobody drive blocking anymore. All position blocking. And I get guys are bigger, stronger, faster. But all offensive linemen, they talk about moving a man against his will. You got to be able to do that. Sorry. Got to be able to do it. Get somebody in and out of a hole. Get them out of there. Got to learn technique. Got to learn blocking. That's right. It's all zone blocking these days. It's crazy. Question over here. Big B, do you think that a foul should have been called on the Broncos Sunday night when Dobbs got hit? I don't think so. Kareem Jackson, that was a reputation. He got suspended for a game. I don't think it was a penalty. And it wasn't, though. It was a fumble. I don't think it was a penalty at all. I thought it was good football. At some point, guys got to be able to get hit. I love what Tom Brady said. Protect yourself. That was part of the game, protecting yourself, learning how to protect yourself. I respect you too, Nate. I appreciate you saying that, man. But yeah, I love what did y'all hear what Tom Brady had to say? He basically said that football has become mediocre, that he sees a lot of mediocrity out there. Guys going over the middle, that they regulate things out of the game versus making guys play better and protect themselves. Don't throw the ball over the middle because somebody will get knocked out if you do. They've regulated out of the game. The only part about that is that Tom Brady benefited from the rule changes. So while I respect what he said, Tom Brady benefited from the rule changes because they couldn't hit quarterbacks either. They used to kill Joe Montana, Steve Young, anybody. I mean, they used to kill those guys. And Tom Brady benefited from those rules changes. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Good week to be a Browns fan, man. Browns fans have been giving it to me since the game ended on Sunday. I get it. I get it. So I get it. Just like this guy, Timmy, said Steelers are trash. I get it. Give it to us. We deserve it. You play like that on offense, you deserve everything that you get. And now we got a week to fix it. Got to fix it. Today was a start, but today's not a finish. Today was only a start. Matt Canada had to go. Bruh, Ryland, if Kenny doesn't do good, at what point do you say it wasn't Canada's fault, but Kenny just isn't the franchise guy? Here's my thinking on that great question. It was never all Matt Canada's fault. It was never all Matt Canada's fault. Everybody wanted to blame it all on Matt Canada. It's the play calling. It's the offense. And it was those things. Don't get me wrong. But it wasn't all on him. Every play wasn't horrible. Every scheme or schematics or whatever, it wasn't all horrible. Guys were open. Kenny Pickett just couldn't find them. Or we're trying to run the ball. No running lanes. You know, those things happen, man. Those things matter. My man, Dylan Turner. Want to see my thoughts of the idea of Alabama jumping Texas if both are 12-1 and conference champs? I appreciate the super chat, Dylan. Thank you very much, man. We appreciate it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. If both are 12-1 or both are conference champs, they played on the field. I mean, and if Alabama jumps Texas, the committee should just say, we don't care what happens on the field. We don't care. I know that you guys played, and I know Texas beat you, but that doesn't matter to us. And I know the excuse is, well, it was 3 months ago. Man, I don't care. You don't get to play everybody. For instance, Georgia and Alabama didn't play at all until December. It doesn't matter. They played. And if we're going to now say that games on the field don't matter, you watch what teams start doing. Let that happen. And then watch what happens to non-conference games. Ain't nobody going to play nobody anymore. You just watch. Nobody will play anybody. Because what they'll say is, hey, Texas beat Alabama. They both finished conference champs with the same record, but they jumped Alabama over top of them. So clearly, Texas playing Alabama had no advantage. So why do it? Why do it? So the committee better not do anything stupid like that, because if they do, they will be killing non-conference college or non-conference football. It'll be destroyed because nobody will do it. Nobody will do it. Can't overcome a loss at their home. I don't care if it was at home or away. You played and you lost. You played and you lost. That's what matters. It doesn't matter, if, well, they're playing much better than they were earlier in the season. Whose fault is that? Nobody said you should have been playing bad at the beginning of the year. Nobody made you lose a game. You lost. Period. Do I think that the ACC has any teams getting in? If Florida State's undefeated, they'll get in. Florida State's undefeated, they'll get in for sure. 13-0. They got a decent resume. They'll get in. Now, Florida State had a resume like Michigan, then no. But they don't. They don't. And the one thing people got to stop doing is thinking that if you don't play a top 10 team, then your resume is terrible. That's not true. While Clemson's not great, Clemson's still a good football team. Florida State beat them at Clemson. That matters. Those things matter. I'm not saying that Clemson is a top 5 team, but those aren't the only football games that count. And just because Michigan only played 2 good teams all year, and they happen to be 2 top 10 teams, doesn't mean that their resume is good. Their resume is horrible. Horrible. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Hey, just as a reminder, Big B's Daily Show, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Central Time, live on TikTok, live on YouTube. We appreciate everybody that comes in, man. Everybody. No show coming up on this Thursday, Thanksgiving. I'm going to be in my tryptophan off of that turkey, so I won't be able to make it in on Thursday. I'm going to be getting after it, just like you all should be getting after it. And I mean, Thanksgiving is one of the greatest days. I mean, I wake up, I help my wife make breakfast, I eat breakfast, then I watch football. And I don't really get up off the couch except to go to the bathroom the rest of the day. My wife gets it. She loves me. She'll bring me a plate of food. She gets it. My dog knows not to bother me for me to take her out. I'm just on the couch. I'm watching football. I'm in my mode. I'm in my mode. Great day. And basketball comes on. I love college basketball. That comes on. It's great. It's great. So, no show this Thursday, by the way. No show this Thursday. So, anyway, anybody that's on TikTok, if you're in here, please click over or please give me a follow if you're not following. And anybody on YouTube, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Favorite Thanksgiving dish? Turkey, dressing, ham, macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, greens. I don't have a favorite. I love it all. I love it all. Bud Snodgrass. Never heard your thoughts on the third string Ballard against my Cats. Thought you played decent. Or thought he played decent. He did. KU outcoached K-State on Saturday. They had a great plan. They moved the quarterback around. They ran the football. They had a great plan. K-State wasn't ready. They didn't really make that many adjustments, but then they finally did. And if they'd have done that earlier and just made him a thrower, but he didn't have to be. He didn't have to be. So I thought he played fine. K-State made another play and won the game. So, all right, man, we're going to shut this one down today. We're going to shut. Somebody on TikTok said rehire Canada. I love it. I love it. So we're going to shut this one down today, people. I appreciate all of you guys joining in. Again, Monday through Friday, the Big B Daily Show, 4 p.m. Central Time. Tell all your friends. Have them come join us, whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on YouTube. We appreciate all of you guys, and we will see you tomorrow. Aloha.